Ann Nelson is a former war correspondent and a teacher now at Columbia University in America. And you spoke a bit about the press freedom agenda. Can you tell me what that is exactly?
The press freedom agenda, internationally speaking, is a broad one. You worry about censorship. You worry about governments cracking down on news organizations, whether they're online, print, or broadcast. But of course, the gravest form of it is violence against journalists, the people who are gathering the news. And there's just an unconscionable number of killings of journalists around the world that continues to this day.
So what can be done about this? How can this agenda be promulgated?
The first thing you can do is address the question of impunity. In most cases, the killers of journalists are never brought to justice, and the international community can exert pressure on the legal systems of the countries where these occur to make sure that the cases are investigated, arrests are made, and trials are held. It's often impossible to prevent the killing of a journalist, but it's always possible to investigate it. The second thing you need is just to cover these international stories. Even if it's expensive, even if the audiences may not be quick to respond, it's serving everyone's purposes in the long run. Third thing is to support international press freedom organizations around the world, especially in developing countries where their services are needed the most.
And what would you say is the impact of press freedom?
The impact is a negative one. When you have dictatorships, when you have brutal governments, they often arrive on the doorstep because the press coverage isn't being done. The watchdog function is not being served. So people are caught unawares. Journalists are in the front line of protecting society's interests, and they do it by revealing abuses as they occur. Those freedoms must be preserved for the benefit of the entire society.
So how should the industry be thinking about press freedom?
The industry should be thinking about it globally. A lot of times the resources are in Europe and North America, and a lot of the greatest violence is in the South, in developing countries. You have to have a sense of solidarity between the regions, and that's where these press freedom organizations are so important. They put journalists, editors, managers, publishers in the same room, and they sort out these problems and figure out what they collectively can do about them through exerting various forms of pressure.
Anne, thank you very much.
Thank you.